Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Elite Zone. So happy to have everybody here this morning. I am Max Bergstrom, and I've got Blake Ferretti with me here today. And we're going to be talking about content that converts. This is going to be how to build posts that grow your pipeline, not just your following. So let's get into it right now. All right. Good morning, Blake. What's going on?
Top of the morning. How are you?
I couldn't complain. I'm doing really, really well, and we're getting into some juicy stuff today. I always get geeked up when we talk about content, social media and things like that. Because here's the deal, when was the last time, 1,000 likes on Instagram paid your mortgage for you? When was the last time, a few followers or some nice comments helped you pay your bills every month, right? So, look, it's great to have followers. It's great to have likes. The message here isn't don't go after those. The message is how are you taking those and creating profit, creating clients, right?
Yeah.
So that's what, and that's something that we spend a lot of time cracking the code on this stuff for our own businesses, and so this is really, really good stuff. So this is what we kind of want to talk about here. It's not necessarily a creativity conversation. It's,
Yeah.
it's an analysis type of conversation. So we're going to get into some types of content, what you need, why you need. So let's start there, Blake. What types of content are real estate agents? What should they be focusing on that not only drives their authority forward, but is
Yeah.
going to engage with their audience, get likes, and then allow them to funnel that into business? Let's just kind of start building it for the audience. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to categorize it into two different, I guess, segments, you could say. And the first one's going to be kind of like your growth content. And I think that's kind of a little bit what you were just mentioning, like content that's going to help maybe grow your social media platforms. Some examples of what growth content is could look like, top 5 coffee shops in San Diego,
Yep.
um, day in the life of a realtor,
Yeah.
or, POV, your client wants a pool, a view, and a budget under 600K.
Right.
So that is the type of content that gets the reach because it's broad and entertaining, right?
Get
It's
some
kind of
attention.
scenes.
Yep.
Exactly.
People might check it out, have a good laugh, or if it's good, then yeah, okay, I like this person. Sure, I'll like
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Yeah. And so the second type of content, and the one that we're really, really honing in on today, is really that conversion content.
Yep.
So, what conversion content looks like is, hey, if your house has been sitting for more than 30 days with no offers, your pricing strategy is probably not the actual problem. That's an example of a conversion content, because what that does is that post speaks directly to a seller who could be in pain, right?
Yep.
Like a seller's like, my listing's been on the market for more than 30 days. What's
Yep.
wrong? Like, and we've talked about this in a few other episodes. So if you're new, definitely check those out. But we've talked about the ICP, right? The ideal client
Segmentation. Yep.
persona, and being able to hone in on like what your ideal client, what those pain points are, so that way you can create, the conversion of when you're marketing.
Yeah.
So that's an
You just
example.
laid it out beautiful, like right offer at the right time
Yep,
in front of the right person. If
exactly.
you get those three things, it really doesn't take much flash or fancy to get somebody to engage. If
Exactly.
literally, if you had a white screen with just text and it
Yeah,
was the right offer to the right person at the right time, they're going to click on it. So it's all in the
exactly.
marketing, which is why, yes, we talk a lot about that. So yes, go check out other episodes. All right, continue. Sorry.
No, no, it's great. And I think the biggest thing that we really like work with our clients on is sometimes agents are addicted to that growth content because it feels safer, right? Like it's easy to give a, hey, here's a market update and that get a few thousand views, or hey, like what's happening locally in the area, like here are new construction buildings going up for malls and how is that going to help your neighborhood value.
Yeah,
Those are like very safe videos and content that's being created now. They're important to have because you want to diversify, right? However, when you have a niche post for, let's say, divorced homeowners that are relocating after separating, that probably might not get that many views, right? Like you're clearly
that's more.
advertising and marketing to a specific type of situation that someone's dealing with,
Yep.
and it's very personable. But what happens is that post, the one that you're kind of really honing in on a specific type of situation or pain point, is it could create a consultation. It could create a listing appointment because what someone does is they're like, oh, I resonate with that. I'm going to reach out to this person because I'm going through the same exact situation.
Yeah,
So that's where really owning the conversion content, and like having little like spurts of the growth.
for sure. Yeah, I love that. I think that's fantastic. And with content, like there's when we're talking about like the niche stuff, I think
Mhm.
there's definite value to that, and there's definite value to being creative. Like I've seen there's this guy on Instagram who does house tours, but he tries to do them in like 45 seconds. So he's
Yes,
like, okay, ready, here we go.
scripting.
Yeah, he's running through. There's another one called the emo realtor who like
Yeah,
looks like an emo kid like from 2007s, and all of his videos, his
yeah,
listing videos, are songs that he records and sings as emo songs, and he's like, look at the bathroom, like he's taking people through this house as he's singing
yeah,
song. So like that kind of stuff, it's entertaining, it'll grab somebody's attention, that's all good, right? So we need that stuff, but we also need the specific, hey, you have this problem, I have the solution, let's get you on board, let's talk about it,
yeah,
let me help you with this specific thing. So that targeted content, which is great. So then there's obviously a way to set this up. There's 6 elements of a conversion post that we are going to get into here. Right, and I think we're going to, I mean, this is the framework for agents. You guys haven't been taught this. A lot of
mhm,
people have not been taught this, even people in business and marketing. There's and we don't claim to be right. There's lots of different ways to do this, but this is a framework that I think is definitely, this definitely works. I've seen it work. It starts off with the hook, right? So what is the hook and why is that important, Blake? Let's get into it.
yeah,
Hook, man, you only have a split second to make a first impression, right? So you got to
yeah.
get them right away.
Yeah, so it's almost like growing up and you would always hear like your elevator pitch. Like you need to sell someone in the first 3 seconds. Like the first 3 words out of your mouth is either going to allow you to continue this conversation or not. And
Yep.
it's going to be the same exact thing when it comes to social media. You have about 3 seconds to grab someone's attention before they are swiping, scrolling on to the next. So it's going to be the same thing. The hook is truly one of the most important elements that we're going to go over. And I want to give the listeners some examples of what
Yeah.
that could look like.
Yep.
So let's say we are dealing with a first time buyer, okay? A hook could look like, if you are waiting for interest rates to hit 4% before buying, you might be waiting years while prices keep climbing.
Yep. So think about the pond. You got
Yep.
the hook dangling, the worm. That's literally hook, right? That's
Yep.
why we call it a hook. All those
Yep.
fish swimming around, the hook that you have has to be attractive enough to get the right fish to bite it, right?
Yes,
All right,
exactly. Yep.
excellent,
So, well, yeah,
excellent.
exactly to what you're saying, to kind of just like break it down into like bullet points of like why the hook works is you have a specific audience, you mention the pain point, you mention, like fear of missing out, and
Right.
then that creates that immediate curiosity. And that's why in the hook, those are things you want to be thinking about. So, I know we have a lot of listeners that work maybe specifically with sellers. So in a seller example could sound more of like your house probably does not need a price reduction. It probably needs repositioning.
Right.
What that does for a seller is they're like, oh, well, that's interesting because I haven't been told that. I've been told my house is priced too high for the market. So maybe I do check out what they mean by repositioning.
Right.
I'm intrigued now. It created that
I
curiosity.
want more.
Yes,
Got my
exactly.
attention. Now I want more.
Exactly.
Explain how I can do this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, that conversation. We're creating that conversation content.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do one for relocation and luxury. So for relocation, it could sound more like, hey, moving from California to Texas sounds cheaper until you see the property tax bill.
Yeah.
So people obviously are moving out of California, as
Yep.
we're here, and it is not cheap.
Right.
However, sometimes people aren't educated or understanding of like what that truly means when you leave or what
Yeah.
you are gonna face.
Right.
So that obviously can hit that pain point. And then for luxury, that could sound like luxury listings do not fail because of price first. They fail because the marketing feels average. So if you have a luxury home that you have on the market and it doesn't feel like it's a luxury home because of how it's being marketed online, you're going to run into a problem. So those types of hooks and verbiage is what's going to attract the clients that you're looking for to start the conversation. Remember, all of this is so that way you have an opportunity to start the conversation. And then, of
Yep.
course, from there, you do the magic.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Right.
You do the magic.
We can't make the sales for you guys, but we can, we can get the fish to look at your hook, right?
Absolutely.
You can get them
Absolutely.
to
I
look,
love that.
to
I
give
love that.
attention to your hook. All right. So then that makes perfect sense. I love that. The next part, the problem, right? So you
Yep.
got the hook. Now I'm interested. And
Yeah.
then we're going to agitate it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Say,
We're gonna
look,
we're gonna give a little pull. We're gonna give a little pull.
you're probably saying, okay, well, tell me more. All right.
Yeah.
Well, here's your problem. So let's go into that, Blake. What's the
Yes.
problem all about? How do we do this?
Yes. I want to also mention this is where I see a lot of times agents nail the hook and then we get to the problem part and we just are a little too vague.
Yep.
And that's where if we're able to elevate and kind of give more,
Yeah.
then it's going to really have that fish on the hook. So what you usually hear for the problem is like, buying a home can be stressful. Okay, it's kind of vague, right? But something that really just elevates could sound something like most first-time buyers think losing multiple offers mean they can't compete financially. Usually, it means their strategy is weak. That right there feels real for a first time home buyer, a true problem that they might be facing,
Yeah.
especially dependent on what kind of market it is.
Yep.
If it's not a buyer market and they're trying to buy a home and they're getting beat out, yeah, that pain probably will feel real. So, those are like how you want to elevate from a more vague problem to a little more detailed that will resonate with someone that is searching for an agent or just looking around to get some guidance really.
Yep.
um
Yep.
And then same thing, like another one for, let's say, sellers. Like sellers think the first week on the market is about getting offers. It's actually about creating leverage. Once again, another thing to educate
Yeah,
and pinpoint the problem. Sellers feel like, hey, why am I not getting offers right away?
right.
But
It speaks
you're letting
directly.
them.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and those are so effective, like the property tax hook with the like moving from California to Texas stuff,
Yeah.
because it's so specific that like literally somebody might be like, I was literally looking into doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's more expensive, or the thing, or what do you mean I'm not supposed to be getting offers the first week? I don't understand that. So it's really about like, look at it as create content that gets questions from people, gives them
Yeah.
answers, gives them knowledge, and opens up a conversation, right? You're
Exactly.
not trying to sell homes when you're on social media. You're trying to make a connection with people and educate them,
Hmm.
and stay top of mind, because if and when they are ready, they're going to know you. And then the ones that are ready now, you want to target them specifically, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So then when's the shift from problem into the insight or the solution, or what's the next step?
Yeah. So for um insights, right? That's going to be kind of like maybe helping your client see perspectives. And this is where I think good agents are competing right now with like influencers. And the thing is like agents have way more just like knowledge and education than like someone trying to be all flashy. So
Mm.
an example of that could look like, buyers are not losing because they are offering too little. They're losing because their agent submitted an offer that created zero certainty for the seller.
Yep.
So if the seller,
Certainty is an important word too, right?
absolutely,
Certainty.
yeah,
That's what people want right now, right? No doesn't necessarily mean no. It means I'm not yet certain enough that you have what I need or
mhm,
are the right person. So
yeah,
just wanted to
yeah.
say that quick.
And that's why too, like it's so important. One of the biggest, skills that I see that's so valuable for agents that have this skill. And if you're an agent listening and you're like, that's something I probably should work on, like do it. Make that one of your goals for this year because it really truly is valuable. But being able to negotiate and knowing how to negotiate, like that is truly one of the most important things that I've seen with agents getting those extra deals, because their clients are like, you went to bat for me and you negotiated the best deal and made sure I got the property or sold the property to the right person. So that's a little side note, pro tip. If you
Absolutely.
if you need a goal to work on, negotiating skills is definitely an important one to have. So,
In life, period. But
yeah,
yes, absolutely. You
yes,
can make, if you know how to negotiate, you'll do just fine in real estate.
right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, no, just giving some insights on that, and after kind of giving insights and changing a little bit of perspective, um,
Yeah.
you head into that proof, right?
Hmm.
Like, all right, we've built the trust, we built the communication, we've talked strategy. Now we need that proof. And this is where I think sometimes, unfortunately, agents like will start dropping off because they'll either not use proof, maybe it's not real proof, or it's just
Yeah.
kind of vague, right? Um,
Yep.
and what I've seen on the weaker end of proof is like, hey, we work hard for our clients.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying don't use that. If you're someone listening and you're like, I say that, that is fine. But what we're here to do is help level you up and elevate what you're putting out there, right? Like you working hard for your clients is probably something that you do. However, we want to help you get that message across so that way clients know how you work hard for your clients,
Yeah,
right?
you can articulate it.
We want real, it's, think about it as like storytelling. When you're giving proof, you want to be able to give a story. So you want to be able to say, yeah, I work hard. Okay, well, how do you work hard? So something might sound like, hey, this condo sat on the market for 47 days before we took over the listing. We changed the photography. We rewrote the positioning around walkability instead of square footage and had 2 offers in 6 days.
Yeah.
Now, if you hear that, you have the proof, you saw the strategy behind how you worked hard for your clients and what you
Right.
did. So
Right.
that way someone hears that story and they're like, okay, yeah, I trust this agent. I want to work with this agent. Like I know exactly what this person's going to be doing for me. And
Yes.
that's the shift with the proof of, and once again, I'm just going to say proof, think of storytelling.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do
Yeah,
when you're
case studies, storytelling. That proof also translates into certainty. And also another thing is the proof part, right? I think the proof part could you even use that in the hook? Like could you have a hook that's like you know, my my last, Bayho clients condo sold in under 30 days for 100 grand over asking, or X
yeah,
percent over, like not specifically that, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like you're dropping it, want to know
absolutely,
how I did it. You know what I mean? So you're like giving like,
absolutely.
whoa, so especially if you're targeting in a neighborhood and you're not giving obviously the specific story, so it's ethical, and you're just saying, like I'm willing to explain how I did this, how I strategized this for this person, in a bidding
Yes,
war or whatever. So something like that. I don't know. That just popped in my head,
yeah,
but I've seen some
no,
good like data hooks work too.
absolutely. I think that a having a hook that is targeting a pain point, having a hook that is solution based are all great hooks. And honestly, maybe that's an episode that we do and we kind
Test
of
them
go
out.
through, we just go
Yeah.
through all the different types of hooks that you can have, what that looks like. But yeah, like if you, once again, you want to make sure you are putting in that hook, like we said earlier, of being able to be targeting the specific audience, you're naming a pain point, and that solution could be towards a pain point, right? The
Yes.
fear of missing out. So the fear of, wait, this person just got a seller credit for 200K. How the heck did they do that? I want to do that, right? That's
Right.
that fear of missing out on something. So the hook can be creative, and that's the fun part. So I think maybe we do that, Max. Maybe we think about doing an episode on hooks and different examples and things for our listeners to listen to next.
Heck yeah. Love it.
But back to the elements. We just showed the proof. We talked about the storytelling. We're creating that certainty, and we head into the fifth element, which is like you were just talking about, the
The
solution.
solution. What is it?
So the solution, right? The solution is not, hey, hire me.
Yeah.
You should work with me. Right? So, yes, I agree. If you are a great agent and you are awesome at your job, you help buyers and sellers, like you're a good person, yes, we want you to get hired. However, that's not how we want to convey the message. So that way, people that don't know you do want to communicate with you and hire you. So there's some different things that we can do, right? What we see, which doesn't have as much success, is thinking about buying or selling, contact me today. Once again, kind of a little bit more of the generic. There's probably other people saying the same thing.
Yep.
What I would say is maybe something along the lines of like, hey, I put together the exact negotiating structure we use to help buyers win against cash offers. DM me, win, and I'll send it over to you.
Yeah. Yep.
You were
No
specific.
contest there.
You created engagement right away for someone to comment on your post. And now you have a DM. You get to give free guides or information. Now you put them in your CRM, wham bam, and we're off.
I love it.
We are
Yep.
off. So that's the switch up, that when you give those specific wins, you're going to see more success. And after you kind of go over that solution, right? I would say the big wrapping up is element 6, which is the CTA, call to
Yeah.
action.
Yep.
Call to action.
Got to
So
tell them what to do or they're not going to do it.
exactly. So if you're, let's say, and once again, CTA is abbreviated for call to action. So I'm going to say CTA, but your CTA, if it says like, hey, thoughts, what are your thoughts? It's not, it's
Drop a
not,
comment. If it's just drop a comment below. That's
yeah,
brain.
like
That's
there's
brain power, right? Oh, now I gotta read the post again. I gotta make sure it looks cool. I gotta like figure out something that I don't look dumb. But if you say, hey, drop a thumbs up or win, DM me win or comment elite,
specific. Those
whatever,
are
something
specific.
specific. That's easy. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. WIN, send.
Exactly. All right. So examples. So let's say you are wanting buyer leads, right? A buyer lead CTA could sound like DM me, offer, and I'll send you the exact escalation clause strategy we used last month.
Right. Exactly. Exact.
You talk to, or you want to target sellers. A seller CTA could sound like comment staging, and I will send you the pre-listing checklist we use before every photo shoot. Or we talked about relocation.
That's a good one. And you could even say like a hook for that. Did you know that professional photography for your listing increases the likelihood of X, Y, and Z? DM me, bam, and I'll send you the exactly. You're calling it out. You're adding the data and the proof. You're saying I have the exact system, and I'll give it to you. And literally, all you have to do for that is to type 2 words or
Yep.
comment two letters. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So
Exactly.
that's it. That's the name of the game.
It really is. And I'll give one just in case our listeners right now work with relocation, and that's something that they really hone in on targeting. But a relocation CTA can sound like, thinking about moving out of state, DM relocate, and I will send you the cost comparison worksheet my clients use. So what that does is it's specific, and when you're specific, it converts.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
You're qualifying, right? You're qualifying before you even talk to the person, right?
Exactly.
So you're trying to get to the point where when you get on the phone with the person, hi, Max, saw your ad about specifically X, Y, and Z. I got your resource. I read it. I think it's great. Here's what I want to do. Can you help me?
Yep.
Right? Instead of having to get all of that information, like guys, if you put the work in on the front end like this and automate things where you can, I mean, this can be so much smoother. Agents make things so much harder sometimes that are like, I love the hustle and the grind, but it doesn't have to be, as hard as people make it out to be.
Yeah. I think when you can leverage, I think that's a big key word, is like when you leverage the tools and systems that can help you multiply yourself and truly allow you to scale. And I think that's the biggest thing, where good agents get separated from great agents and great agents get separated from elite agents. It's like you leverage the tools and systems that you have, so that way the manual, or not even the manual work, but the work that you literally can't allow automations to do, you have time to do it, and you don't feel overwhelmed or stressed, but you just leverage. But I do just want to kind of like recap once again, like the 6 different elements that we went over. First one being the hook. The second then is the problem. You give the insight next. After you give the insight, you give the proof. The proof's in the pudding. Then you give the solution. And last but not least, you give that call to action, letting them know what steps that they need to take. So those are the big 6 elements in creating more of those post, I guess you could say, content that's more of the conversion content. That's how you're going to be able to elevate and make those conversations into hopefully those closings.
I love that. So here's a real quick example before we wrap things up, guys. If I was going to take this episode that Blake and I did and I wanted to hook somebody in, she's given you guys for absolute free what a real estate marketing consultant would probably charge several $100s an hour for, which are excellent specific hooks and the formula to do it. Now, what I would do is say, hey, in our newest Elite Zone podcast, we've developed a whole script of hooks that are specific and work for you. If you want it, check out the episode and DM me hooks and I'll send them to you. See? So think about it like this, guys. That's kind of, this is the formula that Blake's laid out. This is what we're seeing working for real estate agents. Does it work all the time, every time, 100%? No, of course not, right? Like you still have to put the content out there, look at the data, what's working, what isn't, where's the disconnect. It's all in the system, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we talk about systems so much, because you can be great. You can have my hooks locked in, man. All my marketing material looks great. Cool. But if your follow-up isn't good, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If you're not getting the attention in the first place, if you're not getting noticed, so people see the hooks, doesn't matter, right? So this systems thinking, very important now. I love that. I know we were going to talk about batch shooting, but we might have to have a full episode on batch shooting content. And, there's a lot of different ways to do that. So I don't know how you want to close this one out, but what do you think?
I think that once again, challenge anyone that's listening right now, or maybe you've gone back and you've listened to this 6 times. I want you to challenge yourself to look at the post that you're creating, or maybe the post you're not creating, and say, okay, am I doing a lot of growth content or am I doing conversion content? And if your answer is like, I probably could do more, or I could just even start doing conversion content based off of even some of the examples. Take the examples we gave you today, like go and use it and try it and test it out and have fun with it. Don't like go have fun, but try diversifying from, if you're just doing growth right now, make sure you're doing that conversion content. So that's what I would say your homework is until
Love next time. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, for sure. And guys, remember, like, subscribe, share. If you guys are resonating with this content, we've got a lot more of it. Go check out agentelite.com, specifically agentelite.com/visible. If you want to get the Visible Agent Guide, which basically is an outline on how to bring more visibility and the right kind of people to your website, right? Get them interested, hook them in, start a creative conversation, follow up, all that stuff, right? All the way through to more commission in your bank account. So check us out there, and we will see you on Elite Zone next week. See you later, everybody.
Bye.